Hey there, Mia Anstein here again. Today I am making a healthy recipe with a animal that I tagged during small game hunting season. So let's learn how to make bobcat chorizo.
Okay, so let me show you here what we've got. I've got my meat in here. I've got it covered just so nothing gets in there while I'm working on the other items. But I have a couple of bay leaves, a couple of cloves of garlic, quarter cup of apple cider vinegar. In this mix here, I have dried oregano, ground cumin, paprika, cloves, allspice berries, black pepper, and salt. And I'll put that information in the show notes. And then in here, I have got my dried chiles. Back here, I've got a pot of water that I'm getting warm because we're going to de-seed and devein these chiles, and then we're going to soak them in the water for a while and soften them up. And we'll do about 5 chiles, and they're all various sizes. These are dried chiles, so crack the bottom off and just dump the seeds out. And make sure there's not any clumps of seeds. Sometimes a clump of seeds will get in the tip there, and so we want to make sure I don't have any huge clumps. And I'll just set that aside and do the next one. But you can see where I said devein, these are big clumps of chiles. I'm one that I try not to waste a lot, and I wouldn't say that I'm here to save the world, but I may as well do as much as I can, correct? And so that's why I use this mat. It's a flex mat. I can pick this up and flex it, and then I'll go throw my trash away. But for these chiles, right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rinse these, and then I'm gonna dump them in this hot water. So I'll be right back. Get these cleaned up. Okay, those are all cleaned up and rinsed, and we wanna rinse them because a lot of times we keep the chiles in re-straws. If you've ever seen the chiles that are hanging in a big, long re-straw, those can get dust and dirt and stuff like that on them. They also have dirt from the field, so we want to wash them before we eat them. And so they're cleaned up. I'm going to go throw this in the trash. Okay, so while this is steeping and softening up, I am going to go ahead and clean the grinder so that I can get it out of the way because I'm going to need to bring out another power tool. So let's get this cleaned up. Those chiles are coming right along. I can still see one of them is pretty tough, so I'm going to let it sit there a second longer. While that's steeping, I'm going to mince this garlic and get it ready, and I've got my food processor ready so I can do some pureeing. I don't have a blender. If you guys have a favorite blender, let me know in the comments what your favorite blender is, because I just always use my food processor. So, I don't know. Is that okay? Now, I don't know, do you love garlic? Because I love garlic, and so I don't mind if there's a little bit of bigger chunks in there, but some people don't like to get big chunks of garlic. So if you don't like big chunks, something you can also do is use a garlic press, or you can get some of the jarred stuff. One thing with the jarred stuff is there are a lot of other ingredients in there that maybe are not quite so healthy for you, and so I kind of try to stay away from the jarred stuff. But chop your garlic up. We're going to throw the chiles, the vinegar, the garlic, and the bay leaves into the grinder. I might use a little bit of the water that we steeped with in here, just if it needs a little bit more fluid in there. So let's get that done. Pour my vinegar in there. Toss my bay leaves in there. I'm gonna get these chiles out. And I don't mind if a little water comes with them. As I said, we need a little water to get this set up in there. And then I will toss my garlic in. And like I said, with these mats are wonderful because I can just kind of fold it in there. Okay, can get a good consistency, but I want to grind this up until it's nice and smooth and makes like a sauce. Okay, and now we've got that in there. I'm going to add in my dry spices. Put that back on, and I'm just going to mix it, give it a good mix, and then we will start cooking. Got our nice sauce. I'm going to heat up this wok. You could probably use a smaller skillet, but this wok is like my favorite pan in the world, and I use it for almost everything. It helps me keeping from being a little messy. I can strew around, and I do still toss stuff out on occasion, but it helps. Have you ever like tried to use a pan that was just too small and it's just not even worth the time because you're struggling so hard to keep the stuff in the pan that it's just not even worth it? Yeah, I don't like that. I would rather get an extra large grande size and go from there. So I'm going to turn this on, get it warming up. The wonderful thing about the food processor is that I can throw parts of this into the dishwasher. Here's a fun fact about Mia. I didn't have a dishwasher. Well, I had one when I was in college age, and I just never used it because it was only me, so I never had enough dishes to fill it up to run it, and so I would run it on occasion, but it was a lot easier to just kind of soap up a sponge and wash my dishes as they went, and it kept the kitchen cleaner that way. I just got this house here. We just moved into it about a year ago, and it has a dishwasher, and I never knew what I was missing. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with it now. So there's that fun fact. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour this sauce directly into the meats and try to get all of that in there. And I'm gonna give this a good mix. You can strain this sauce before you put it in there so to get out the bits and whatnot. I did, as I said, put the garlic in there and all of that, and so I don't strain mine. It's okay to go. So next, I'm gonna mix this up. You can use your hands to mix it. I have no problem using the spoon, and I'd have to re-glove again, so I'm just gonna use the spoon to mix it up. Let you guys see that there? With this mixed, you basically are good to go. You could put that into a bag and freeze it. We could use the grinder that I used. You can put the sausage tube in there and get sausage skins and fill it up like the chorizo you buy at the grocery store is in the sausage tubes. We could do that. However, what I like to do is, even when I buy store-bought chorizo, I cook the whole thing, whether I'm using the whole thing or not. That way it's good to go when I am super hungry and I'm getting ready to just binge out on junk snacks. It's already cooked and ready, and I can throw an egg in it. I can throw it in a thing of greens and throw it in my wok and cook it up. And I do that quite often for lunches and stuff like that when I don't feel like a cold salad. I'll make a hot salad with chorizo. So what I'm doing today is I'm gonna cook this up, and then I will actually put it in a container in the refrigerator, and I'll scoop out a quarter cup or something as I need it as I go. So we're gonna cook it up. And I'm just gonna let that kind of cook for a second, and I'm going to clean this up real quick and then come back and stir this up, and then we're going to put it in a container. I'm going to save a little out today because since I was talking about salads and greens, I'm actually going to save some out to try in my salad today. What I have also found, the best thing to do when you are a cook in the kitchen, or if you're helping someone else cook, clean up as you go. I could leave this and cook that and stand there and stare at it, but rather than a washed pot, you know what they say about those, rather than do that, I can just clean this up right now and get it all prepared and put it away. And then, guess what? You have a nice clean kitchen and you'll not have chores to do after your meal. We're good to go there. Now I just have to pop stuff in the dishwasher and hand wash what I need to hand wash, but we'll be ready to go. While I'm here, let me stir this up. Looks like it's cooking up. It smells good. I hope it's tasty. This is actually my first go at making chorizo with Bobcat, so I'll let you know how it tastes. That's why I decided I better make something with it so that I can give you all a taste test. Okay, so here's something I'm noticing. There's a lot of moisture in there. That's a little different than what we get when we cook turkey, chorizo or something like that. So it's definitely a moist meat, you know. I maybe could have put a little less broth as I just scooped the chilies out, but I don't mind a moist meat. I'd rather have it moist than dried out. But let me just get a spoon and taste test this so that we can taste it without being mixed with anything first. Here we go. This is my first time cooking Bobcat chorizo and my first time tasting Bobcat. I actually was on a podcast interview this morning, and I'll share a link for that in the show notes.
But the young lady that interviewed me, Stephanie Lane, she talked to me about cooking bobcat. So it was very ironic because I told her, well, I have my stuff set up to do a video about cooking bobcat, and so irony. But she said it doesn't taste too bad, and so let's give it a taste. If you can see there, oh my gosh, it smells so good. It is delicious. It's very good. So bobcat is similar to like mountain lion. It's not steak, you know, it's not a red meat. That's partly why I put the allspice in, is because of that. If I was cooking a beef chorizo, I maybe would have left the allspice out. So that's something, if you decide to make this chorizo recipe, as with all my recipes, edit them and fine tune them and make them your own, because we all have different tastes, we all have different likes. But this bobcat chorizo is super delicious, and I cannot wait to throw some in with some mixed greens and have them for lunch. Let me give it a couple more stirs. Because as I said, I like to pre-cook all of it and keep it in the fridge. What I noticed with this, since it's a lean meat, a lot of times chorizo, you get it in the tube and it's so clumped together. This is not going to hold together in a tube. If you see there, that ground meat is not holding. I never did move down to the smaller grind. I used the regular size that I had started out with, because the meat was pretty tender and it ground up very nicely. I'm going to throw this in a bowl, get it prepared to put in the fridge, because I will be eating most of this probably this week. I may freeze half so that I can have some at a later date, because bobcat season is currently over. But one thing about bobcats, why do we hunt bobcats? I hunted the bobcats because we do have wild turkeys in our area. We used to have a plethora of wild turkeys, and then we came to have all these predators. I think I shared a Spy Point video with you. Watch that if you would like, and some videos about these predators. But bobcats eat turkey eggs, duck eggs, pheasant eggs. That's a prime meal for them. They like to invade the nest. They also do eat the ducks and quails and pheasants and all. They eat birds. That's of their cats. They eat birds. So they are a predator that needs to be managed. And some people try to say they're a trophy. I don't call any animal that I hunt a trophy. They're not trophies. We hunt them. I hunt for food. I hunt to manage wildlife populations. I hunt because it's a primal instinct that we all have in us, and not everybody wants to hunt. And I realize that. But if you do decide to hunt, if you already hunt, you know that it is a satisfying primal instinct to be out there and explore and interact and discover wild game and what they do. And so that is why we hunt bobcats. As I said, this is my first time to eat bobcat. I thought that tasted fabulous. I will definitely, bobcat season's over here. I got this one on the second to the last day or third to last day of season. I did not trap this one. We do trap occasionally. This one was actually a hunted cat. It is very satisfying to be able to outsmart a wild animal on their own turf. A lot of non-hunters think that hunting is very easy, and it is quite the contrary. It is a challenge, and that is why hunters enjoy it. We enjoy the challenge. So if you have questions, let me know in the show notes, and I'm gonna mix this up with some greens and enjoy it, and I look forward to sharing future videos with you. Talk to you later.